There are many of us who have come to a stage in life where we've kind of had enough of living a superficial, unauthentic life, where our main purpose is to chase instant moments of gratification, to constantly try and please our physical senses, be it our eyes, our ears, our tongues, the sense of touch. And we deep down know that this is just a finite fulfillment. There's a deep urge within us, a deep instinctual desire that is trying to push us and propel us outside of this mainstream, superficial way of living. That is pushing us to try and discover, to try and understand life. For those people who embark on this journey, who finally listen to the inner yearning of trying to discover more, to try and discover what is outside of this paradigm, outside of this perspective we have been programmed to view life through. This we can call starting the spiritual journey. Many of us, we decide to pay less attention to these superficial means of living life, to chasing goals that we've been told to chase from a very young age, to trying to seek something more authentic, to try and seek a reality that is true, that is in alignment with existence, rather than going against existence. But as we embark on this spiritual journey, we are initiated with a sense of joy, a sense of purpose. We finally feel like we are headed towards something that is indeed authentic, that is indeed in alignment with how we want to live life, in alignment with existence. And so we are approached with a sense of bliss, peace, happiness, joy. But these are fleeting. At some point along the line, we actually begin to face certain aspects or certain emotions that we really didn't think we would face along this journey. We start to face emotions such as hopelessness, loneliness, depression, pain, different forms of suffering, dark emotions. And this comes so strange to the person who is initiating this journey to try and push ourselves away from the suffering of instant gratification. It seems strange that going on this path where we are supposed to be embraced with compassion, eternal peace, love, bliss, or heaven, and whatever other things we are promised with on this journey, we are faced with all of the darker aspects of the emotions. And so very often, many of us, we turn away from continuing this journey. We go back to living that superficial life, to dumbing down our senses once again for instant gratification, to live and chase after goals we've been programmed to chase after, to live a life that doesn't feel authentic to our core. But it's only a matter of time that eventually this deep inner urge, this instinctual desire to long for something higher, to long for something higher than ourselves arises once again. And so this fuels us to embark on the spiritual journey. We get to the stage where we then feel the darker aspects of this journey, the dark truths that we have to face, the depression, the loneliness, the hopelessness, the despair, the fear. And so then eventually many of us may find ourselves in between living the superficial mainstream way of living, or going by and continuing the spiritual journey. And we oscillate between the two. We oscillate between living a life of instant gratification to living a life of fleeting moments of peace and satisfaction. The purpose of this video is to discuss the dark side of spirituality, to understand what is really happening. Is there light at the end of the tunnel? Why do we find ourselves crawling back into our previous way of living, when we fully know that this isn't enough for us, that this isn't authentic, it doesn't feel true to our core, when we are living life longing for the truth. Now let's imagine you've just eaten something that is foreign to the body, that is harmful. How does your body react? You may be faced with several symptoms such as a headache, a stomach ache, a sore throat, diarrhea, feeling sick and nauseous. And so all of these symptoms arise because your body's trying to expel, to get rid of this foreign thing that is harmful. And so if we observe this and we understand this, we let the body just see it through. We let the body do its thing. We are happy to suffer temporarily because we know that we will end up with relief as long as the body releases this harmful object. And so we may vomit, we suffer temporarily, and this is exactly the same thing that's taking place when we embark on the spiritual journey. As we initiate ourselves, as we understand that there are different questions such as, why are we here? What is this life? What is the purpose of life? These fundamental questions, as we admit to ourselves that the conclusions, the people that have told us the answers to these questions, or wherever we've read the answers to these questions, just don't seem like they are enough, that don't seem to cut it for us. We admit that we don't understand, we admit that we don't know, and so we initiate ourselves into this journey. But the very acceptance and the surrender to the fact that we don't know, this increases our awareness ever so slightly. We become increasingly aware of our internal aspects of life, of the internal movement of our life. We become increasingly aware of our surroundings. We become increasingly aware of other individuals. And it's this very same thing that continues to propel us to continue the spiritual journey, because we see even more that a superficial way of living isn't authentic, isn't true to our core. It does not fulfill our existence. And so when we are faced with hopelessness, loneliness, depression, and the dark side of spirituality, or what others may call the dark night of the soul, it's essentially us becoming increasingly aware of the foreign aspects of our being, whether it's ideas, emotions, different knots in our soul, if you like, that need to be expelled, that need to be released. And so the symptoms are a feeling of emptiness, darkness, depression, hopelessness, loneliness, all of these things. It's very much like when an aeroplane takes off. Initially, as it takes off, it knows where it's going. But then it approaches a large patch of clouds, and in the midst of these clouds, there is no sense of direction. There's no sense of understanding of where the aeroplane is going. The only thing the aeroplane may know, however, is that it's still on the incline and it's continuing. And this, you have the power to understand. But eventually, as the aeroplane comes out of the clouds, it finds itself to be above all of the clouds, to have an all-encompassing awareness, to be able to perceive what is. And so I wanted this to be some form of reassurance, some form of reminder for anyone who is on this spiritual journey, who is about to start perhaps. Spirituality is about self-acceptance. It's about surrendering to everything, without question, without judgment. How is our opinion worthy of existence? Our opinions, they come and they go. Existence is what is. So why judge it? Why can we not accept it and surrender and continue? Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that this helps you in some way or form. Have faith and trust the process. Trust the journey. See you next week.